Fourth learning objective in section 6.3 is to interpret the coefficient of determination. The coefficient of determination is r squared, so it's the square of the correlation coefficient r. Its interpretation is the proportion of variability in the response variable that is explained by the relationship with the explanatory variable. For example, a manager at Walmart wishes to determine the relationship between the number of years her sales representatives have been employed by Walmart and their amount of sales in thousands of dollars per month. The data is given below, and you can see that our explanatory variable x is years employed and our response variable y is sales. The linear correlation coefficient r is 0.632. Which of the following is a correct statement? Notice that all of these answer options talk about a percent of variation in something that is explained by the relationship with something else. So this is the type of wording that we use to interpret r squared. So let's first compute r squared. We are told that r is 0.632, and we're going to square that, and we get 0.39942. To convert that to a percentage, we move the decimal 2 places to the right, and we get 39.9%. So 39.9% of the variation in y, which is sales, is explained by the relationship with x, which is years employed. So the correct interpretation here is C. Answers A and B are incorrect because they use 63.2%, which is the value for r, not r squared. Answer D is incorrect because it switches the roles of x and y. So remember that r squared needs to be the percentage of variation in y explained by the relationship with x. Notice that this interpretation for the coefficient of determination as a percentage of explained variation is different than the interpretation for the correlation coefficient r. R tells us the strength and the direction of the relationship. So a correlation coefficient of 0.632 tells us that the direction of the relationship is going to be positive. There will be an upward trend. As x increases, y also increases. We know that because 0.632 is a positive number. We also know that the strength of the relationship is moderately strong. Remember that values close to 1 or -1 are strong, and values close to 0 are going to be weak. A value of 0.632 is pretty close to 0.5, a little higher than that, a little bit closer to 1. And so this is going to be a moderately strong relationship, a moderately strong positive relationship between x and y. That's how you would interpret r, which is different from the interpretation for the coefficient of determination, which we've answered here with answer C.